Hello, and welcome back to Frostpunk 2. I do like that opening bit there. As soon as you press the button to start the game, all this, like all the, condensation clears off the goggles and the music kicks in. Nice bit of cinematography, so to speak, there. Right. So, this has been on the channel before, a few times, but it's not been in a proper series before. So, I think I did like a Christmas special, and because I wanted to throw some content out over Christmas, but I couldn't think as to what. And I ended up settling on just putting up an episode of, well, I think it were 2 or 3 episodes of me just playing the original. Trying out just a free building mode. I've also looked at the beta of this a good number of months back now. And now it's obviously the full release. And yeah, we'll be looking at starting a story campaign, and I'm hoping to put this on the channel, kind of leapfrogging it over in between Outpost Infinity Siege. So it'll be taking up that slot if you're interested in watching. And so without further ado, we'll get started. It's a challenging game in which planning ahead is crucial. Failure is part of the learning experience. If you're a veteran of the original and enjoy a challenge, you might try your luck with officer or higher difficulty. Otherwise, we suggest starting at citizen and taking it one step at a time. Remember, it's not about how many times we fall, it's about how many times we get back up. I will warn you, we will not be doing this in one clean run. There will be much save scumming and issues along the way. So, yeah, story, the legacy of New London. So, New London is the settlement that you set up in the first game on the original story mode. Not any of the challenge modes or extra stories or anything like that. The original first story that you play on the original game, that's New London. So we've got a prologue. Let's see, if I click new story, it looks like, yeah, we start with prologue, The Wanderers. In 1887, the world froze to death. Civilization crumbled. The failing British Empire built generators to support cities of evacuees. Cities that would become the last on Earth. Whether huddled by a generator in the open Frostland, those that survived were shaped by the ordeal. 30 years later, all became very different people. So, citizen. If we put it to officer, a challenging endeavour, still with margin for error, but otherwise demanding focus and planning. So it recommends that I play on officer. Surviving on swords, there's no active pause and your progress will be saved on exit only if you put survivor mode on. Interesting. So they're really going for the you like a challenge type angle with the difficulty then. Taking the Dark Souls approach. You know, the only difficulty settings are ones harder than the default. Right. We can try it on officer, and I can always just lower it down if I feel the need. Right. We'll start it up then.
Can you hear us? Captain!
Do you hear us?
A generation ago, we fled the crumbling British Empire as the world froze around us. We survived 30 years of violence. But the world around us is dead. Empty.
Ripe for taking. The city grows.
Festus.
Merely surviving is not enough. We have to expand. After all, it's us who survived the end of the world. It's us who survived.
Yes.
The Wanderers. Prologue. We've been roaming the frozen desert for years. Many of us do not remember a world before the Great Frost. Now another whiteout is coming, and again we've reached the old machine. Again we will rely on its furnace to provide heat through the storm. In the past, we always made sure there were enough supplies for the next whiteout, but our numbers have grown through the years. Providing for everyone is getting harder and harder. We must survive. Here we are then. The old dreadnought remains in pieces under layers of snow, but the scattered wagons still have resources inside. We must break the ice to reach one of the old wagons and construct an extraction district to use it. We can then turn on the dreadnought's furnace to heat us. We will restart the furnace. Right. So, before we get started and crack on here, I'll just kind of go over a bit of an overview of how Frostpunk works if you're new to the game. Again, there are other videos on the channel of the beta, like sort of the beta access period for Frostpunk 2. I would recommend looking at those. There are episodes of Frostpunk 1 on the channel, again just as like a limited time thing that I did, a little mini series on it. But Frostpunk 2 works very differently. In Frostpunk 1 we were dealing with building individual buildings and kind of micromanaging the city, whereas on this one it's much more on a macro scale. So yeah, you don't put down individual buildings, it's districts. Yeah, you don't manage, you know, your handful of guys selecting a worker to go here and a worker to go there. It's you're organising entire massive groups of people. Right, so we can look here, Frostbreak area. So the first thing we're going to be doing is, let's see, Frostbreak to an oil wagon and construct an extraction district. So let's have a look. Fertile soil, oil wagon. So it looks like Dreadnought wreck. So this is where we're starting. We're starting on the wrecked Dreadnought. And one of the big new things in Frostpunk 2, it's all about expansion and trying to take back parts of the wasteland that got lost to the snow. So it's almost like we're recolonising the frozen wastes in Frostpunk 2. It's set much further along. As it says, 30 years later, this is set, and as such, the story's moved on. So if we unpause it, as you can see, we're beginning the frost breaking process. We're going to smash all this ice up. We have these giant excavator type things. And they're going to crack open all the ice so that we can get to the oil tankers here. And we're going to take some of the resources out of there. There's 50,000 oil. And scraps. What have we got here? Scraps are stockpilable resource that can be spent on frost breaking, funding construction, or when using specific actions. They're collected weekly. Everybody provides their share. The bigger the community, the more they contribute. You can use the take scraps action on wanderers, which will increase the number of scraps in your stockpile but worsen your relations. Right. You can also return scraps, which does the opposite. Costs you scraps but improves relations and trusts. Right. So we're going to have little tooltips like that pop up to just show us the ropes since it's the prologue, so expect a bit of that. But now, so we're in Frostbreak to an oil wagon and construct an extraction district. So there we go. There's our extraction district. Turn on the furnace in the Dreadnought wreck to provide heat. So we'll unpause, we'll allow that to go on. And we can speed this process up. And then every so often we're going to be asked to make a moral choice. Sometimes though, it's just information. So as the thick black liquid oozes through the pipes, our people rejoice. The carcass of this old machine is a testament to the hardships that made us, but more importantly, it's our haven in the storm. It has allowed us to weather many whiteouts and will do so again. We have oil, we can turn on the furnace. Right. Furnace. On. The furnace is on. We have enough oil to cover current needs, but the cold will still affect our people until they have proper shelter. Housing will best protect us from the cold if built in proximity to other housing or the furnace itself. We need to prefabricate parts for construction. We brought some with us. The rest we need to extract from the wagon wreckages. So, we can look at prefabs. Prefabricated building components assembled at construction sites or hubs or whole districts. You can also obtain them from ruins or abandoned deposits, like maintenance wagons or abandoned ruins, by building an extraction district. When you run out of them, when you run out of prefabs to build anything, try demolishing an existing district, hubs or buildings to get back all the prefabs used in their construction. Right. Construction wagon, resource prefabs, oil wagon, oil. So it looks like it'll want us to go for this next. What have we got over there? Maintenance wagon for materials, and the same there for more materials. So at the moment we want these construction wagon prefabs, right. So we'll need to frost break an area. Right. So we can see the needs of our people up here. We've got some mild hunger because we're currently out of food. We've got some small amounts of disease starting to set in, and the cold's becoming notable. The cold is causing the disease, and the hunger is also not exactly helping, so people are falling ill due to starvation and frostbite, so we probably want to get on this. Wait for the machines to disappear, that means it's done. Now we'll start building. So, the previous game was much more like a really your typical sort of city builder, where we'd, as I said, we'd be building like individual buildings and putting it all up and more like that. This is probably, I would say, Frostpunk 2 for my limited time with it in the beta and stuff I've seen. You can see like the hexagons, and then there being like adjacency bonuses between certain tile types and things like that. It's kind of like a cross between a sort of 4X game in terms of like the city building. It's much closer to something like, say, Civilization, or if you've played what other one now? Humankind, and I think the people who made that also did another one that I think what it called Endless Legend, I want to say it were called. That's all about putting down districts and having adjacency bonuses and that. So it's almost like you've got the sort of city building you'd normally expect from a 4X game, like smashed into basically a city building game. So they're definitely experimenting with this one, far more than previously. And as we get further into it, these communities down here, like we've got Wanderers at the moment, these will split into different political factions, and we're going to have like whole like diplomatic crises and things, and it's going to become a lot more complex and convoluted as time goes on here. Our main objective for this one, though, from the prologue, looks like we just need to survive a whiteout that's going to arrive in 74 weeks. So we're on week 15, by the way, so these things do construct slowly. Really slowly. Right, the cold has become severe. We now need to build 2 housing districts around the generator. I'm going to frost break the opposite side of the generator as well. And we'll speed that up. And we're just going to go ahead and smush all of our houses into the generator, around the generator here. Right, and that'll be us done. Okay. So as we can see, the cold's severe, but it's diminishing. So this need is now being fulfilled. It's not as bad. The disease that's becoming severe is being caused by the cold and squalor. So the cold and hunger and a bit of squalor as well, but yeah, and then we need food. Right, we'll speed that along anyway. We've established some heat and some shelter. We must now turn our attention to the incoming whiteout. Right. First we must frostbreak to the small patches of fertile soil suitable for growing food. Then we must store it in easily accessible depots. We must move quickly so no one starves. A bit late for that. Now it looks like, lucky for us, we can actually start frostbreaking out this way as well. So it looks like the entire Dreadnought wreck classes our home. So we can let's kind of go around that area. And we'll do the same over here. The two most important resources we're going to find are fuel and food. Generally speaking, if you've got food and you've got fuel, you're going to win the game. That's basically it. If you've got enough food, if you've got enough fuel, you're good. Of course, the issue comes when you start needing to burn more fuel because it's getting colder and you can't go out and hunt as much game because the severe cold is basically killing everything off and preventing you from going out without freezing to death. So don't expect it to be all sunshine and rainbows. We've nearly got enough housing at this point. Our frostbreaking teams are more or less done. And there we go, that'll be done pretty quick. We've got 62 weeks until the whiteout comes. Oop, and I think that was trying to tell me about squalor, but yeah, here we go. Squalor. It means your citizens have been enduring polluted air and overwhelming dirt and filth. It is when there are not enough materials to meet the demand for maintenance of the city. High squalor increases disease and decreases population growth. It causes recurring events that damage random districts, indicated by the district's wear. When wear reaches its maximum limit, it turns off due to malfunctions. To make it functional again, the player needs to repair the district with the cost of prefabs. So we're going to need some building materials next, and would you believe it, there's just happens to be a bunch of them over here. Who could have predicted such a thing? We now have to stockpile as much food as we can. To do that we need to produce more food than our current demand. Well, would you believe... Oh, click on this. Squalor. Each day the wind grows fiercer. Relentlessly it beats against our buildings, weakening our structures gust by gust. Without raw materials to repair the damage, our districts will deteriorate. The more we build, the more materials we will need. This is the world we know. Provide more materials to reduce squalor before it harms our people. So we can avoid addressing it right now, which worsens our relations, but it means that we don't have to commit to anything. Or we can make a promise, and if we fulfill it, we'll gain relations with, well, the only political group in our society right now, the Wanderers. So our people will be happy if we fulfill this promise. You can probably put two and two together and figure out what will happen if we fail to meet up to our promise. So the penalty for not fulfilling the promise is far worse than if we were to just not commit to anything to start with. Anyway, in case you're wondering, by the way, the food districts, yes, it is like a giant hothouse thing with greenhouses and stuff. They don't just grow it in the soil, it's obviously frozen and that. So we've got like generators in there. Very much reminiscent of the hothouse buildings you could build in the first one. Right, so we will need materials. Which means we're going to have to frost break to here. Right. Oh, what have we got here? Finn and Kell, 42 gardener. Pouring sand in his hands. We've been here so many times, the soil is depleting. A couple more and there will be no point erecting the hothouses. There'll be nothing to grow food on. And the yield is so low. Either we pull emergency shifts or tighten our belts. Otherwise, there might not be enough for everyone. We might not be able to fill food stockpiles without exceptional measures. Consider asking the Wanderers to tighten belts or install emergency shifts in food districts. Well, actually, currently we're getting a surplus in. Right. And we also need to start frost breaking here. Right. Into the black, burying the dead. We mourn those who have recently passed. It is our custom. We take them to the oil pit. As is our custom, we take them to the oil pit. We gently lower their bodies into the thick blackness. The fuel that keeps us warm in life likewise preserves us in death. But death also erodes trust in our leaders. Without trust there is no future. Trust and relations fall every time people die. Right. Frost breaking is nearly done. Got another moral dilemma appeared. Tria Cleghorn, 62, seamstress. So others may live. My knees ache, my fingers are so stiff, I can't hold the needle anymore. I've lived a full life, it warms my heart to see little Betty and Jacob play by the evening fire. But maybe this is it. I've talked with the other elders, if it comes to it, we will go. I won't let my grandchildren starve. Some people are ready to sacrifice themselves to lower the food required. Well, let's see if we can, you know, actually get this stockpile before we go turfing out the elderly. You know, just dropping them in the oil pits, using them for fuel. We've not got to that point just yet. I'm not that bad at the game, you know. I did beat the first one. Did you? You know, don't you know? I even beat all the challenges. Not on the hardest of difficulties, but I did beat them. Right. That should be enough. $30 froze to death. But it's diminishing. Ah. Well, okay then. Maybe we can make one more housing district. Mind you, at this rate, we won't need them if they all just keel over dead. Right. We'll build another. That'll be plenty then. Right, let's fast forward a bit. Oh, we've got another moral conundrum over here. Okay, seals. I can't believe my eyes. We haven't seen them since the Great Frost. How did they survive? There's enough meat here to feed everybody. We're saved. But should we slay them if the Lord spared them from the end of the world too? I mean, seals are kind of meant to, like, survive in the cold. I mean, honestly, I think the real thing to do here is start seal breeding. We can domesticate the seals, surely. Amount 400, oh wow, 400k food. Now, how much are these? You gonna show me? So that's 18k, so... If I click on here, food districts. Remaining 14.7. Remaining over here, 14.6. So they'll have harvested all of that in 46 weeks. That will give us, if we stockpile it all, so 14.7, 14.6. That will not give us enough if we didn't eat any of it. Yeah. It's a good job we looked at the maths on this. But we can get this, and this is 400,000. 18,000, 18,000. So if I press T on this, resource depots. I guess I just put an extraction district on it, I guess. Okay, so we need to frost break to this. I'd love to put some on that oil as well, but we need one more. Okay, what if we go here? Ah. Let's try this again. Right, what if we start? There. We'll just do that, and we'll do it in 2 goes. One to here and another down there, and we'll get all those resources. We are now gathering enough materials to maintain our districts. Time to focus on stockpiling food for the White House. For the Whiteout. I nearly said White House then. Right. Okay, we've got workforce available, 405. We'll focus on the food first. Though there's prefabs there. We'll demolish this because it's no longer producing. We've run out of things there. We can get those prefabs back and we can use it for districts down this way. So there's the oil. And there's our food. A mysterious symbol, the captain's legacy. One of our frost-breaking crew uncovered the frozen remains of a man in a tattered uniform. His shoulder patch reads, New London Scouts 3rd Platoon, and he bears an obscure insignia. Some of our elders claim it belongs to a military organisation, while others argue it has religious significance. Maybe you have heard of this New London before, and can settle their debate. New London is a city of discipline that follows strong leadership and where militant squads keep the peace. This will create a continuity in which New London has embraced order to survive. Or we can go with New London embracing faith to survive, or we don't recognise. We'll create a continuity in which New London has leaned on one or the other. So it'll just choose. In the original, I actually went order. So in the original game, you get to choose. Like the way that they did kind of politics and doctrines to survive and stuff was you could choose to either follow the path of order, where you would propagandize people and send military squads and things around to them, or you would literally rule through religious, like zealous religious faith and things, and basically make yourself out to be like a saint. I actually went, but yeah, in the original I went with order, but managed to, for the most part, avoid the whole, falling into a dictatorship thing. Not to brag. Right. But things seem to be going nice for us at the moment. We'll get this frost breaking done. That should be the food problem sorted then. We then need to, because we'll get this done as well. Heat demand has increased, yep. It's a good job we've started drilling for more oil here. We should have just enough workforce for all these. In fact, it looks like our workforce has increased a bit because we destroyed that other district, so... Ah yeah, not extraction, food district is what we need. There we go. Oh. Can I cancel that? Yeah, where is the actual cancel button? Lack of prefabs. Obtain more by yep, I know, I realised as I did that. I think I have to finish building it so that I can destroy it. Whatever. Right. Our people are freezing. Incoming cold crisis. Right, our workers and frost-breaking crews have begun to suffer casualties from exposure. They're asking us to provide more heating before the cold takes further toll. We know we need to bring in as much food as possible before the whiteout, but we can't just let people freeze in the meantime. Extracting enough oil will allow us to produce heat, while building enough housing will protect our people from cold. We require both. We need houses for our works and fuel for our heaters. Yep, okay. Reduce coal to miner. Extract enough oil to satisfy heat demand. So basically when this is done we'll be fine. Okay. Right. Food is coming along quite nicely. So let's see. Total output 45, total output 80. This wants to be on emergency shifts. I think if we go on here, can we take scraps, return scraps, tighten belts? Hunger is significantly increased. Food demand per capita is decreased. We'll be fine. Food depots. Preserving food for the White House. Our stores are almost full, but we need more for the White House. We need secure depots that can house rations during the months. Build food stockpile hubs to increase the stockpile capacity of food. Disease weakens our workforce. There's enough heat, shelter and food. Yep. It's very much going through like the basics with you on this, isn't it? Right. We're going to have to destroy one of these districts. And then we'll build the thing over here to get prefabs. Then we're going to start expanding out to the other things. In the meantime, the thing with the food is we're just not producing it quickly enough. So if we build more centres where we can get to food, we should be alright. Okay, food stockpile hub. Right. Plus 15k stockpile capacity for food. Stockpile capacity for food increased. Oh, it's not paused at the moment. It's just proximity to workforce. Demand in neighbouring food districts is decreased. The whiteout draws near. People in the camp are getting tense, so we won't gather enough food in time. Our hunters propose to slaughter the remaining seals, including pups and females. This will allow us to gather much more, but will wipe out what could be the last colony of these creatures on Earth. However, many elders have volunteered to walk out into Frostland rather than be a burden. The sacrifice would significantly reduce the rations we need for the whiteout. What should we do? Food production will greatly increase. The last colony will be butchered. Our elders will die. This will not reduce our workforce. Food required to survive will decrease greatly. We will gather enough food in time. But the consequences will be dire if we fail. We'll be fine. It's fine. Don't worry. We just have to, probably, you know. It's like, what? Would you rather work, or do you want to kill Grandma? I mean, we don't like it, but... Right. It should be a motivating factor. Have we literally hit our limit with 1,000, with 10k there? So that, right, that's built, so that should go massively up now. Right. Let's frost break out. Right. And we'll start building. So, I believe we've got some prefabs we need to grab here, haven't we? Not quite yet. Come on! Come on! Yes. That should be the prefabs we need, right? 86. Son of a... We've still not got enough. Is it because we built that stockpile? It will be, yeah, that's used up 60. Oh. We might have screwed it up by not building the thing for that prefabs. Week 60. We're getting a bit dicey here. Right, we're going to have squalor for a bit, but things won't explode immediately. Get that built. Going to need an emergency shift. Prefabs are going up. Okay, we've got a few hundred now. Let's see what we can build. Might actually be a good thing that we got rid of those building things over there, because yeah, we let's see. Already? 5 weeks worth, Christ. One of our districts has been damaged due to lack of materials. We have to repair it before we can use it again. Four and a bit K worth of food over there. Right. We should be able to build this here. Food is coming nicely. Is that another... We've hit the stockpile limit again. Should have noticed that. Hmm. 9 weeks at current rate. Some mistakes were made then. Right. I didn't notice it actually said that underneath. Six weeks. Five weeks. We have one. Yeah, 15 weeks to increase trust. Right, we are going to have to, unfortunately... I can't ask them to send the elderly out, can I now? Which is annoying. I wish it told you that you'd hit your stockpile limit, because I didn't realise that. And that's probably screwed us over. We've literally, if we needed to do all this a little bit more efficiently. And I also screwed up with not realising how few prefabs were available here, so we can give that another roll, I think. The whiteout is here, you screwed up. Wow. Chaos and starvation. The Wanderers did not survive. Right. So there's your first taste of Frostpunk 2. Well, I say first taste. We've been on the beta before. We can definitely start that again. I'm going to keep it on officer. I think that is fine. I just need to kind of get a bit of a grip on it first. Play a bit less casually, but it's definitely doable. We nearly did it, really. I just need to be a bit... Well, obviously I didn't... There's certain things there that you wouldn't have known unless you'd played the map once, you know, like... Or if I'd paid particular attention to, like, oh, those prefabs are going to run out in a moment. I should definitely... Yeah, issues like that. But that's easily doable, that. We'll give it a go next time, but yeah. It's very much a rather unforgiving city builder. But I guess now it's less city builder and sort of a cross between a city builder and like a 4X game type thing with its like tile based building and stuff. But I'm interested to see where it goes in this new game, this sequel. And I hope you'll join me, because I'll be probably going through the entire story. I don't think there's any challenge modes, but there's this Utopia builder. Right, open-ended sandbox mode. We designed Frostpunk 2 with the intent for you to explain the story before playing this, as engaging with the fate of New London is intended way to learn the core concepts. So yeah, they say you should probably play the main game first, but yeah, there's lots of different locations: windswept peaks, fractured gorge, broken shore, horizon, crater, dreadnought, hanging rock. I think the crater is probably the one similar to the first Frostpunk, but yeah. But we'll probably have a go through the entire story and see how it goes there. But thank you very much for watching. We'll give that prologue another go next time. We can probably rush through it a bit quick, and now we know what we're doing, probably ace it. I'll see you then.